Fragewörter. Fragewörter means question words. Ich habe eine Frage. I have a question. In a foreign language, you're going to be asking for information quite frequently. You don't know a lot of things, so you have to ask questions. When you're traveling, you have to ask questions. When you meet somebody new, you have to ask a lot of questions. It's one of the most important things to learn in a language is to understand what the question words mean so that you can use them. I hope you have a half page of notes in front of you. You can jot some notes as we go through this lesson today, and we're going to learn what the question words mean. And I'm going to give you some tips and some hints in deciphering which one you want. Frage. Ich habe eine Frage. I've got a question. Wo? Can you think of a question that you already know that begins with wo? Wo wohnst du? Wo wohnst du? When you ask that, you say something like, Ich wohne in Ephrata. You're asking about a place. Wo always refers to a place. The tricky thing about German is that there are 3 words that begin with wo. One is just simply wo, a place. But there's this other question word saying woher. Can you think of a question you know? Woher kommst du, perhaps? Woher kommst du? And you answer, Ich komme aus den USA. What are you asking? Aren't you asking, where do you come from? In German, woher means where from. We put the from at the end of the question. The Germans can do that too. They can say, Wo kommst du her? Where do you come from? That's a little more slang sounding. The proper German is to say the from with the question. Woher kommst du? Where do you come? Where from do you come? And you always answer that question with aus. Aus den USA. Aus Deutschland. Aus Schweden. Some hints might be to say that your answer always has to include aus, and your verb will probably always be komm, or a form of kommen, because you're coming from someplace. Woher kommst du? Wohin is the other question word that begins with wo, refers to a place. We don't have a lot of questions that we've practiced with this yet. An example might be, Wohin geht Peter? Wohin geht Peter? Where is Peter going hin? Wo geht Peter hin? Where is he going to? Wohin means where to. I sometimes tell my students that wohin always is in combination with the word gehen. Gehen to go, because you have to be going to a place. And somebody taught me once that there's this word hin in it. And when you're going to a place, there is a destination. There's a destination, a place you're headed towards. So wohin means where to. Wann is much easier. Wann refers to an element of time. Wann, when. It could be a day on the calendar year. It could be a month. It could be a year. It could be a season. It could be a day of the week. It could be a time of day. It could be a more general element of time like now, later, tomorrow, this morning. At any rate, it's always an element of time. Was refers to what? Always the answer would be a person, place, or thing. No, I shouldn't say person. I should always say, and I shouldn't say place either. That's incorrect. Was always refers to a thing. So, for example, you could say, Was ist das? You don't know what that thing is. You might ask someone, Was spielst du? What do you play? Fußball. It's not a person, it's not a place. Wie viel means how much. It always refers to a sum. Okay, something, it always refers to a sum. Our most frequent examples have been math sums that we've practiced in when we were learning our numbers. Wie viel ist 1 plus 2? 1 plus 2 ist 3. It's a sum. Wie viele sounds just like wie viel back here, but I add an E to it. The difference between those two is that wie viele means how many. This means how much. It's a sum. This means how many. It's a number in that it's something that you can count. You should be able to count it on your fingers. Wie viele Gummibälle habe ich? Wie viele Geschwister hast du? Oh, ich habe einen Bruder und 2 Schwestern. How many? Wie is part of that. Wie must mean how. I'm trying to give you some examples of when you used this before, but you've said, Wie heißt du? And you've answered with a name. Yeah, ich heiße Evan, for example. Sometimes I use it in combination with alt to ask, Wie alt bist du? Wie alt ist deine Schwester? When the Germans were here, we practiced, Wie kommst du in die Schule? How do you come to school? Mit dem Bus. So wie has a lot of uses. Wer. Wer refers to a person. Think of the question, Wer ist das? Das ist mein Freund, Peter. This is confusing because when we look at it, we say, oh, that looks like the English word where. That's what some of you are going to do. And when you do that, I want you to stop and say, no, this word does not mean where. I have to think of my questions I already know in my head. Wer ist das? And when I do that, I'll come back to that thought. Das ist mein Freund. Okay? And then you'll know that we're referring to a person. Warum? Your book does not introduce this to you yet. They'd like you to wait till you're further along in the German language, and I say, nope, my students are capable. I'm going to teach it now. Warum ist der Junge so traurig? Warum must mean why. My answer might be something like, ist krank. Hat zu viele Hausaufgaben. But the answer is always a reason. Yeah? Warum? Why? So, there you go. I wonder if we could do some practice. Now you've got your list of question words in front of you. And if you see me give you some practice questions, what I'd like you to recognize is that you're trying to find the question word based on the answer to the question. So when you see this, ist das, you don't ignore that the answer is Peter. And Peter is a person. And so if I'm referring to a person, I choose my question word based on that answer. So when I'm referring to a person, I'd probably ask, Wer ist das? Wer ist das? Who is that? And the answer is a person. Wonder if you can try the next one. When I ask, Kommst du? I look at my answer, and the answer is aus Deutschland. And there's some hints there. This is a place. There's an aus. There's a kommst. What would I be asking? Do you know? I chose woher. Where do you come from? Okay. The next one, again, I say, gehst du? And I look at my answer, and the answer is in die Schule. That's a place. And my place is a place I'm going to. And so because it's going there, I choose, what do you think? Wohin? Wohin gehst du? The next one is mein Heft. The answer here is also a place, da drüben. But I'm not coming, and it's not going. My Heft, my binder. It's not coming, and my binder's not going. I just want to know the place. Wo ist mein Heft? Here's the next question. This one looks a lot like the first question at the top. Wer ist das? But when I look at my answer, eine Giraffe. The answer isn't a person. What would I be asking? How about was ist das? What is that? Eine Giraffe. Here's a question. Some people might get into the habit and say, oh, it's kommst. It's got to be woher, like the second one up here. But no, here's the answer. The answer is am Montag. Montag is a time. The question I want is probably wann. Wann kommst du? Here's a question. Looks like a math question. The answer is a number. Yeah? So here's the question. Do I want wie viel or do I want wie viele? Do I want to say how much or do I want to say how many? One tip is that when I say wie viele, it ends in an E like many. If I don't want many, I just get rid of the E and then I have how much. What do you think? Ist 6 plus 3. I chose wie viel, how much. The last question is a question that's asking, kommt in die Schule? Mit dem Bus. This is the way that he gets to school. What are you asking? Warum? Is that right? Absolutely not. Tricked ya. The correct answer is, wie kommt in die Schule? Mit dem Bus. So, can you guess what question word I'm referring to? Wie, wann, wo, was. Looking at the world, its place. How about wo? Kommt aus Schweden. What did I ask? You're right. Woher? Geht an den See. Wohin? Wann? Was? Wie viel? Wie viele? Wie? Wie heißt du? Wie alt bist du? Wie kommst du in die Schule? Wer ist das? Warum ist so traurig? Good job, everybody. Good luck with your homework.